Mom, your favorite Caribbean restaurant has a $10 special.
So what does that have to do with me?
I need $10.
I don't think I have $10 to give you, Chad.
It's right there.
Oh no, I can't part with that bill.
Why?
Girl, this $10 bill have Viola Desmond on it.
So?
You don't know who Viola Desmond is?
No.
Oh, wait. Do you at least know who Rosa Parks is?
Yes.
Okay then, I can work with that. You see, long before Rosa Parks was sitting on the bus for civil rights, Viola Desmond was sitting in a movie theater for the same. Viola Desmond was a prominent businesswoman in Nova Scotia, and she would make her beauty products and sell them. On this particular day, she went to deliver product, and her car broke down. So she was in a town she didn't really know, and her husband was at home waiting for her, but since she couldn't go anywhere, she decided she would go see a movie. When she got to the movie theater, she bought her ticket and sat in the main room with everybody else. Back then, there was a place for black people and a place for everybody else, and she was clearly in the wrong spot. The manager of the theater came in and escorted her out by her arm and put in jail. She sat in jail for 24 hours. When I say, like, we're talking prison, bars, cold, silence, all by herself, for what they called an amusement tax. Now, this went to court. When it went to court, it was the biggest story in the paper. It ran for a very, very long time. Eventually, the dust settled and everyone went back to their normal lives. But this case, it ignited the modern civil rights movement in Canada. But Viola Desmond didn't quite recover from it. Her marriage ended up falling apart. She decided to close her business. So she ended up leaving Canada and went to New York. Even then, all of the ordeal that she went through, still, she didn't recover fully. And did you know that she died at the age of 50? Yeah, she died at the age of 50. But in 2010, the government gave her a posthumous pardon, which is like a pardon they give you after you've passed away. And then in 2017, our government decided to put her face on the $10 bill. And that's why we have it here today. But she wasn't the first. We've had so many Canadian Black firsts. Let me start with our postman. Did you know that Albert Jackson was the first Black postman in Canada? We're talking back in the 1880s. He started as a postman where back in those times, Black men were laborers or they were sleep car porters. So down here, being a postman was very prestigious. And when he started that job, of course, you know, there was racial contention. And he ended up being demoted to a letter sorter so that nobody could see him on the outside. But he had two things working for him that year. One, the Black community, and two, it was an election year. So of course, the Black community rose up and they put pressure on the Prime Minister. And let me tell you, Sir John A. Macdonald, Prime Minister, signed the paperwork to reinstate Albert to being a mail carrier. And he was a mail carrier for 36 years. And that's why in 2017, his face is on our Canadian stamp. Okay, so that might be too far back for you. Let's step back for a minute. And no, history is important. So let's talk about Elijah McCoy. You've heard the name before, right? Okay. Elijah McCoy now, he's a Canadian. He was an engineer and an inventor. When he could not get a job in the US as an engineer, he thought, forget this. He is going to invent a piece of equipment that is going to be needed so that everyone would have to go to him in the marketplace. So you see, he created a lubrication device that is used for all steam engines. Not only that, he had 57 US patents for that same device. And many came after him because, of course, when they figured out a Black man had created it, they needed to have something to replace it. But it was never good enough. So they started to use the phrase, if it's not the real McCoy, we don't want it. So that's why you hear that phrase. Is it the real McCoy? You hear it often. And I think there's a restaurant in Oshawa called the Real McCoy. I wonder if it's after him. I don't know. We'll find that out some other time. But the importance here is that it was made and he made big strides in that industry, helping our economy forward and helping the industry move forward as well. The first Black police officer on the Windsor Police Force was a gentleman by the name of Alton C. Parker. He was a Jamaican. He left from Jamaica, came to Canada to make a better life for his family, joined the police force and built himself up, went through the ranks and became a police detective. And in doing that, he became the first Black police detective in all of Canada. And that was like in the 1960s. And from there, he just continued doing great things and was honored with the Order of Canada in like 1976, among so many other accolades. Like we could sit here forever telling you all of the awards that he won. But that is a big feat. And then when we think about it, we're here in Durham, right? So what's his name again? Wally White, first Black police officer in Durham region. These are so many of the first. So although Viola Desmond's face is on this bill, you have to understand that so many of our heroes don't make it to the $10 bill, or any bill. They don't make it to the stamp or even a poster. But their works, all that they have accomplished, are the reason why we need to preserve who we are as a people and share our culture. Because of them, we are. And though it's her face on the bill, she represents 10,000 and 10,000 before that. And so the more that we talk about them, the more that we preserve our culture. That's why it's important. Okay, so what does this mean? What does it mean for me? I saw that face. All right. You know how I wash your whites before I put them in the washer? I do it because Nana did it. Nana did it because her mother did it. And back then, they didn't have washing machines. So when great-gran was doing her thing, they didn't have it. So she would wash it by hand. And then what came down was that it's not clean unless you do it by hand first. So yeah, there's a washing machine, but it can't do it the way a Caribbean hand can do it. And in order to keep those traditions going, like I hope I'm passing this among many other cultural things to you, I want to keep these things going. So I continue to do it because I know from experience and from all that we teach each other that this is how it should be done. And I'm hoping that you get that.
But we still have washer though.
Yeah, but washer not it. It's more than just the washer. It's about preserving our culture. Come and let me show you a few things. Lean in.
Okay, Mom, I get it now.
Did you see the drumming and the dancers? All of that preserves our culture. Oh, remember the video that you did with your aunties the other day for TikTok? Those moves, if you think about it, you see the African, you see the dance hall, you see the soca, you see all of those moves coming together. They're all inspired by our ancestors. You see how your friends speak like they have Caribbean backgrounds and none of them have Caribbean roots?
Yeah.
It's more than just the way that they talk, right? Or is that the way you guys all talk now?
Not necessarily.
But seriously, when you hear them speak or when you guys have conversations, doesn't it remind you of the things that your grandfathers used to say?
Yeah.
Or at least my grandfather used to speak.
No, I would not remember that.
Look, regardless of what your friends look like or how they speak or act, and even if you guys watch the same shows or listen to the same music, it's so much more than that. I want you to understand that it's a mentality and how you're supposed to look at life. Regardless of who your friends are, what their backgrounds are, or where they're from, you guys have a common thread. And it's important, especially for your generation, that you guys stick together. You have to come together because the only way that you will rise or make the changes that you desire is that we rise together. So how do you feel now? We experienced the whole coronavirus thing. Everything was shutting down. And in the middle of all of that, we had the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Well, how did you feel when the news came on about George Floyd?
It was not shocking, but it was kind of I was thinking why is this still going on? And then to see my friends to be posting and supporting was good to see. To see that people are still supporting even though they're not part of Black culture. Did
you feel that they saw you for you?
Yeah.
for the first time, maybe?
Yeah.
That's cool. When you heard the story about Breonna Taylor, how did you feel?
As I said before, it wasn't like shocking, but it's like still shocking at the same time. Like I know like it's been happening for a long time, so it's like, why is it still happening? And it's like not right.
Did you feel supported when your friends were posting and stuff? Did you feel supported by them?
Yeah.
Was that important to you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, even though they were posting and supporting you, did you feel singled out? Because some of the times you feel your friends see you, but now they're seeing you as a black girl. Did you feel a pride in that? Did you feel concern in that? How did you feel about that?
I felt like they were just trying to be as supportive as they could in the time that everything was going on.
And knowing that your friends will stand by you regardless of their culture and background, that they will stand by you, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good.
This is what I've been telling you. No matter what their background is, they saw you for who you are. Maybe for the first time, they actually saw you as Kendra, and they saw you as a black girl. But they supported you regardless. They knew that whatever was happening was important to you, so it was important to them. And you see that line right there will help us all rise together.
It reminded me of the two girls I saw on IG. Look.
You see that? Even though they've lived different lives, even though, you've all had different experiences, we can come together. This is an example of how we can come together. And as a people, it's important for us to do just that. To come together, but not just that. We have to rise. Together, we will rise. I know. I'm corny. What it is, what it is. Anyways, I have to start this next meeting.
Okay.
You still want that $10?
No.
Yes. Hi, Karen. Yes. A partnership with No Little Twang and Talking Tales. That's a great idea. Go, child. Go.